Well, if you're on the prairies today, you're looking at some white stuff on the ground. What the heck? It's only the 30th of October. I guess we can't complain. It's actually been a fairly nice fall. So, speaking of fall, we're going to fall into a whole new topic today. Before I introduce your guests, I do want to encourage you to stay tuned in right until the very end of our episode. Janci's going to share her contact details at the end, and I think you're going to be very interested in what she's got to say during the show today. So please do stay tuned in, hear everything that she's got to say, and then look her up on Facebook and Instagram. She's got some great DIY videos that she shares. So our guest today is Janci Templeman, and she's the president of Walker Wakefield here in Regina, a real estate investment firm that's turning maybe properties that wouldn't be people's first choice into some beautiful family homes. So if you haven't seen her Facebook and Instagram, you need to check it out because it was a little bit of a drool fest for me as I went through and looked at all of the projects that she's done and the before and after pictures. I was like, wow. Anyway, without further ado, Janci, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Tell me a little bit about yourself and, of course, about your business.
Well, my name is Janci Templeman. I grew up on a farm just outside Colonsay, Saskatchewan, which is closer to Saskatoon.
Okay.
I moved here in 2005 after traveling the world and living in New Zealand, actually. And then I met my husband, and I've been living here for the last 15 years.
Oh, wow. So you've been here for a long time. Okay, so Colonsay, like huge hockey town. Did you play hockey?
I did not actually know.
Did you have brothers or anybody in the family that did?
I did have a younger brother that played hockey.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody that I knew.
Exactly. I think it's actually a community rule. If you live in Colonsay, you have to play hockey and work at the Fetish Man. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's small town Saskatchewan. Okay, so tell me a little bit. Walker Wakefield, real estate investment. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how did you get into something like that?
So I actually started in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer and group fitness instructor.
Okay.
And I had a personal training client that would work out with me 3 to 5 days a week. And I just thought, oh man, this lady lives a baller lifestyle.
Yeah.
And how could she afford to work out with somebody that often?
Exactly.
And she had the best schedule. And so she would talk about real estate all the time. And she would just leave these little nuggets. I don't think she had any intentions of trying to pull me in or anything. It was just like, this is what I do. And she mentioned once, so how are you going to retire on a fitness wage? And I said, I have no idea. And actually that got me a little bit scared. She said, well, what happens if you get sick? And I said, well, I don't work. I don't make any money. And so she's like, well, maybe that's something you need to think about. So there was a little Rich Dad Education banner on the side of my Facebook page one day. And I clicked on it, went to the little intro, and she actually showed up there to network. And she said, I didn't know you were interested in this. And I said, well, you talk about it all the time. And so she said, well, this is how I got started. So from there, we went and we started taking the education through there. I had no intentions of flipping houses. Mine was just going to be buy, rent, and hold. And I quickly realized that you don't make a ton of money. Like when I thought, I'm going to live off the cash flow. Well, no, like the furnace goes down or you need to call a plumber or anything like that.
Yes.
And that money is just gone.
Your margins are gone instantly.
Yeah.
Yes. Or you have a tenant and you have to do repairs after they leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
margins are gone.
We always want to have a nice cushion in the account in case for those things. So we ended up going into business with my parents. They were gracious enough to go on the education with us, and we started a company, and we got a couple of buy, rent, and hold properties.
Okay.
The first one we had was up by Northgate Mall. It was in 2011 when the refinery was getting their expansion, and vacancy was like 0%.
Yeah, -0.
Yeah, and it was a guy from my husband's work. He was the executor of the estate. He didn't know what to do with the property. He was in a motorcycle accident. He couldn't physically clean out the house, and it sat there for probably 6 months.
Okay.
And he just kept saying, well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
So and by then you had the company formed already, or we were just
in the process
thinking of,
So I'd never analyzed the deal yet. I don't even know what houses cost. And we got to this property and it was a dump. Like it had an addition and it was sinking, and he was a hoarder, and we just he said, well, what do you think? What do you think? So after what felt like forever, I said, how about 60 grand? Because I really didn't really want it because it was such bad shape. I said, okay, I'll take it back to the family and we'll see how it goes. So we get a call the next day and he said, yeah, we'll take it. So we got a house.
All of a sudden your business Regina, is off to a start.
For $60,000 in 2011.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, oh crap.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes fortuitous, right? Yeah. If you hadn't made the decision that you were going to do this, then fate was sort of making that decision for you that here you go.
Exactly. So we renovated it in a month. I was a massage therapist at the time too. I had a client that was on my table and I said, oh yeah, I think I'm going to buy a rental property. And he said, I'll move in. So I had it pre-rented actually before I even had possession of the home.
Because rentals were so difficult.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy didn't clean it out in time. So I said, well, knock $2,500 off and we'll clean it out. So I actually got it for $57,500. So then we renovated it. And
the next time you need to buy a car, call her because she's like the master negotiator.
And that's definitely a learned skill. I've read lots of books and done some trainings on that too. But
yes.
So yeah, once we got the tenant in there, we went to the bank, put a mortgage on it, paid everybody back, pulled all the money out, and then got into the next one. And then, so right now we have 7 doors.
Okay.
And
by doors, you mean rental properties?
Right, because there's a duplex and a triplex, and so we talk about doors.
Okay, and are they all in Regina?
They are all in Regina, yeah. Okay, and I property manage all of them at the moment. So I got to a point where I couldn't qualify for any more mortgages. Being self-employed, I was still in the fitness industry teaching probably 10 classes a week, and not making a ton, but I need to start making some more money. So that's when flipping just started happening. Yeah.
Okay. So when I think about flipping houses, I mean, you've got to have some skills, whether it's painting or, cutting baseboards and, tell me about that. Like, how did all that come together? Now, believe it or not, like I'm pretty comfortable in that space. We built a house but a lot of people aren't. So, so tell me about that.
I did like industrial arts growing up.
There we go.
I was the one that made mom a table and I made her some other.
There was no curtains coming home from home ec, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Lots of wood projects. So,
perfect.
And I really hadn't touched that since high school. So on the first flip that we did all the work ourselves. We hired out plumbers and electricians, obviously. But it was lots of late nights, lots of weekends. My husband and I worked for 5 months on that project after our other hours.
Okay. And you didn't have kids by this time?
We did not have kids yet.
Okay.
No. So this would have been probably
you still had a life.
2013 or 14, yeah.
Yeah.
And we sold that one. We did pretty good. And then another real estate coach came through town and he said, yeah, good job, guys. That you did great, but it's not a scalable business. Like if you want to start doing this on scale, and especially if you want to start a family, there's no way that you can do this. He's like, you just created another job for you. Well done. And I was like,
that's actually a really good point.
He said, figure it out. Think of all the hours that you put in every week and how much profit you made between the two of you and all the other people that helped out.
Right.
And he said, look, you got a nice full-time job salary. And I was like, yeah, you are completely right. So we dumped that money into more education and that's 14 or 15 flips ago in the last 4 years. And I've had 2 kids in that time.
Wow. So on average, we'll just say 4 flips a year plus 2 kids. Okay. So you're going to keep up the pace, both on the flips and the kids?
Kids are done.
Okay. Just checking. Yeah. There you go, Brenda. Now you know.
I think she already knew that. But I'm starting to get a little bit quicker now. There were some years that it was only 1 or 2 per year, and then some that I did more because my son was older and I was pregnant. I could kind of tackle the go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot. But now with the 2 little ones, I've been a better delegator. I project manage better. I have a really great team that I work with, lots of electricians, lots of plumbers. So if one can't come, I have a backup. like I just have a great crew of guys that I work with now.
And people that you can count on.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, even as a consumer, sometimes when you're working with contractors, it can be really tough to find somebody that you count on.
Right.
So being able to build a business around that too, I mean, that's equally difficult. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't happen overnight.
No.
Like I've been in real estate now for 7 years, which seems crazy.
Right.
But in the flipping space for 4 or 5.
Okay.
And I would say the last 2 years is been where my crew of guys has just really come through for me, and we work really good as a team.
Yes.
And
everybody knows everybody. You understand roles and responsibilities very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of experience working together goes a long way. Even if you've got 20 years of industry experience working with different people, everyone approaches, problems a little bit differently.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, what does a normal day look like for you? Because now there's a couple of kids in the mix. You've got contractors on the go. And just from our conversation when you got here to the station today, like 1 or 2 projects on the go at any point in time. So how are you balancing all of those?
It's a struggle.
Okay.
The kids are still at home with me.
Okay. So they're both under 5 still?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are not in daycare.
Okay.
I tried over the summer. It didn't work as well. I had them in 2 days a week. And then I had a girl coming to the house, which was awesome. She was just in high school. So, but now I just try, and I have in-laws that are here that are great, that will watch the kids and stuff when I need. But a lot of times they're dragged around with me.
Yes, they're going to grow up on construction sites. It's going to be absolutely inherent for them to understand this process.
And it actually is a really great icebreaker. I kind of use it as a negotiation tactic as well, because things with kids being around, things settle. You can't get as emotional and loud and aggressive.
And it moves things more quickly.
Yes.
When you've got a kid who needs to get home, to eat, or they're upset, that speeds a conversation up in lots of cases. Yeah. Been there, done that.
And the kids that or the guys that I have, they all have young kids now too. So we're all kind of in that same age demographic, and we've had barbecues and stuff where they come over and the kids will play and stuff like that. So they know when the kids are on site. They're on a first name basis. My kids know all the guys' names and are excited to be on site to go see them. So which is great. So, yeah.
So going back to the comment you made earlier, not being scalable. So what makes the business scalable now? What's different from before?
So what we do is we get investors involved, and we don't put mortgages on them anymore because we have so many rentals and because I've been self-employed for so long, the banks won't really give us any more mortgages.
Right.
So we have to go and buy these houses cash.
Okay.
So we pool investor money together and buy the houses cash, renovate them, and then sell them. And that's one way that we can get it scaled. I wasn't able to do that on my own. I couldn't qualify for any mortgages. So I have to bring more people in, and everybody benefits doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just us. So that's how we've been able to scale. We've had some investors with us since the beginning, and they've really done well, and it just kind of keeps snowballing. And now we're getting to the point where I'm getting more houses. I can tackle 2, possibly 3.
Okay.
We're finishing up one right now. It'll be done the next 2 weeks. We get possession of another one on Monday, and maybe in the next month or 2, if we can close on another one, and then just keep that ball rolling so that everybody just kind of keeps their money in, and they're making money as well as we are. So
do you still do some of the physical work yourself, or is it all contractors now?
I would say 98% is all contractors.
Okay.
I do some DIY stuff because I really enjoy it. I know some real estate people will say, you should be off the tools, don't do anything, but I really enjoy it.
Yes.
And it's more the design aspect of it. I made some really cool barn doors.
Okay, you have to check out her Instagram for that. So she made these barn doors with time-lapse photography.
Yeah.
So throw your Instagram out
it's
now.
Janci the GC. So if you want to go and look, I made this really cool geometric piece of art too. That's going to be going up in the next one. So you'll see pictures of that.
Nice.
And that will be up on this nice feature wall in 2 weeks. So I'm excited about that. And I've just followed other people on Instagram, and somebody said, oh, you must be on Pinterest all day and on on the HGTV, and I'm like, I just don't have the time.
I was going to say, where do you find the time?
I just
had you said you did.
Yeah, so I just see snippets and I'm like, oh, that would be really cool to do that. And then I'll follow them along and just kind of go step by step and try and figure it out backwards. And I'm now starting to get my own tools. So I'm really excited about that. The only thing is I'm running out of storage because we have staging stuff in our houses and in our own house. So we're kind of busting at the seams at the moment.
I bet.
So
tell me a little bit about how an investor would find you. So if somebody's listening today and thinking, that sounds like something I'd like to learn more about, what do they do?
Sure, they can reach out to me on my Facebook page, Walker Wakefield, or Janci the GC on Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel as well. It's just Janci Templeman, but there's a lot of before and after videos of the flips. So I'll do a walkthrough and pretty much show you how much of a dump it is. And then at the end, what we've done. So, and for a potential buyer, if they are interested, they can see what it looked like previously. I will always have an open house and inviting everybody, it's not a realtor open house, it's my own open house. So we bring investors, bring all my trades in, so that people can meet the people that did all the work.
Exactly, that got it to this final stage.
Yeah, and then it builds up their businesses as well. And because they do great work. I wouldn't be hiring them if they didn't. And I want to showcase their stuff too, because I can't keep them busy all the time.
100% yet.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's kind of a mutual respect thing now. If I have something, they
prioritize your work a little bit because there's consistent work. Right. And so any business owner, I think, is going to approach consistent work versus, something that's kind of, a spattering here and a spattering there. So I think that's fairly common. It doesn't matter the industry, right? Okay. And what about on the home side? How do you find the properties in the first place?
Some of them are on MLS, and there's a couple of realtors that I deal with, and they know the kind of houses that I'm looking for. They're not afraid to put lowball offers out there because they know I'm going to close. And this one, it was a 2-week possession. So there's not very many people that can pay cash for a property in 2 weeks. So I know this one was a bank repo. So the bank was really comfortable with taking that after it's been sitting for quite a few months. We've also found properties off Kijiji or just driving around and seeing, oh, that house looks like it's been let go, and you just leave a letter in the mailbox, and sometimes they call, sometimes they don't.
Exactly.
Some has been word of mouth. Somebody said, oh, grandma died at this house, and the family doesn't know what to do, and they're just really overwhelmed. And I've had that conversation. That was how our first one happened, and they just didn't know where to start. So that's pretty much the main ways that we've gotten houses.
The main ways that you've gotten houses. So do you focus on certain areas of the community where, and I'll just pick on Arnheim. I don't know if you have properties out there or not, but Arnheim was a real up and coming area. Maybe it still is. So something comes up, you keep a close eye on it. Or tell me, when you see a property, how do you do that quick assessment that says, yes, this would be a good return on our investment?
We are looking for houses for after repair value between 250,000 and 300,000, because that's where the bulk of the buyers are. They're that first time home buyer demographic. So they want to be in an established area that is all brand new, because a lot of people don't want to do any work. And we find that our houses don't sit very long. It's usually definitely before average days on market for the Regina area. Some of the quickest ones are 3, 4, 5 days. This last one was a little bit longer. I think it was 5 weeks, but still that was faster than a lot of the other houses in the area. We sell a lot in Rosemont, Norman View. This one is in Churchill Downs, but it's in the nice north pocket. So for example, the last 2 houses I bought were 110,000, and people are floored that I can get them for that price. But nobody else is really looking for those sorts of houses, and a lot of times they have structural problems. And nobody wants to tackle those. So I have an engineer that I work with, and we've done lots.
Lots of properties.
Yeah, he's able to even over the phone kind of give me a rundown of, okay, this is what you're going to need, so that I know what to expect in my renovation budget.
Okay.
So the last two have had some structural issues, but we brace them, get the engineer's report, and then when somebody's buying them, then they know that we've done the right things, we've got the right permits, everything like that.
Right.
We don't want to cut corners and not do upstanding work.
Yes, exactly, because that word of mouth would spread so quickly. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and it's interesting to me because you being able to flip a home quickly is, even if you and I were doing the exact same thing, so I'm buying it personally and I can get it for the same price somehow, the outcome won't be the same because you're going to be able to get there so much more quickly than I can. Right. So no, that's quite interesting to me. Okay, so you've got another project coming up. So tell us a little bit about that project. What does it look like? How do you put the vision together for how that final product will look?
It's funny you say that, because the first thing that came to mind was, what does it smell like? Because it smells bad. It smells really bad. I don't know what was in there. The laminate is swollen. Like it's an inch or two thick in some spots. So I don't know if there was just potted plants that were leaking. It didn't look like that. I don't think it was a rental property. I think somebody had just kind of let it go. The basement, the back wall is needing to be braced. It has some water in the basement. It just smells bad. and really the basement probably was let go. So maybe if it was an elderly person, they weren't in the basement to kind of monitor what was going on.
Or they didn't know what to do. Correct. Even if they noticed it, what to do is a completely separate question,
or to be able to afford how to fix it, because that bracing a back wall, it's not cheap.
No.
And this is needing a pony wall now. So
okay, what's a pony wall?
We're going to have to cut the concrete out right in front of the wall. We're going to have to dig down, and there's going to be channels, C-channels, that go into the dirt and up to the ceiling, into the rafters of the floor joists.
Okay.
Then you concrete that all in, and then you have to build forms and pour concrete and build another wall in front.
Oh, wow.
So that the wall does not come in anymore.
Yes. And see, that's why the average consumer would be scared of a property like that, because that's a whole bucket of knowledge that the average person doesn't have.
And in the beginning, I probably wouldn't have touched a project like this because I was just unfamiliar with how that all works. But for getting this house at the price I did, I was able to put it in the budget, and it will be fine. We'll get the stamp of approval. The other walls around are not that bad. It's just this one. I think on one other project I had to do a pony wall. That was a house in Cathedral. It was just really old, and I don't know if I'd want to tackle a house that's over 100 years old again, just because there's so much that could go wrong.
I suppose, yes. Janci, we only have a couple of minutes left, so I want to ask you two questions. One, please give everybody your contact information. But two, tell me about the project that you're most proud of.
I would say it was the last one that we did.
Okay.
I think my bathroom was Pinterest worthy, and
awesome.
And I built these shelves, and I kind of took some different ideas from different pictures that I'd seen, and used piping, like natural gas pipe, cool. and then put that with a rustic wood. I have some tricks that I've been able to make pine wood look aged, and treat it different ways. I did black taps and white everywhere, cool black floor.
So you've got a real design flair too, not just a build flair, but a real design flair as well.
Right.
Good
and I think that's one difference that I've seen with other flippers. They're male, and they're not thinking of that design element, and they're not staging it or anything like that. And one of my real estate coaches says, you are trying to sell feelings. You have to walk in there, and the female actually will be the one that has the final say a lot of the times.
Absolutely.
So your kitchens and your bathrooms,
they have
even
to
those
be
little
practical.
simple, those simple little details of staging certain things in certain areas, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able to sell them a little bit easier, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's get those contact details in there.
So you can go to Walker Wakefield on Facebook and Janci the GC on Instagram, and Janci Templeman if you want as well. That's my personal page, and Janci Templeman for my YouTube channel as well. Okay, and reach out.
That sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that today. That was I found that very interesting, and I'm curious to go and find your Instagram and Facebook channels now.
Awesome.
And I give Janci a lot of credit, because real estate in a market the way we are right now, many people would shy away from it. So congratulations to you.
Thanks.
All right, I will be back here on November 13th with Jill Poulton from Transformational Leadership, and she's going to talk about her story in terms of what she's done to build a new project here in Regina called Punto Talks. So she's going to talk a little bit about that project. If you would like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at barb@googlegirl.ca or reach out on Facebook and Instagram at Above the Fold Canada. Just a reminder, you can even submit questions in advance of the live show, and I always try and work them into the conversation with our guests. So I'm your host, Barb McGrath, local business owner and Google Girl. Remember, you worked hard for your success. Don't keep it a secret. Bye for now.